Welcome to the Explainer. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to take just one day's headlines from India and piece them all together. What we'll see is a much larger story. It's a story of a nation doing this really delicate balancing act, both on the world stage and right there at home. So how can you do that? How can a single day's news tell the story of an entire nation? Well, let's dive in. We're going to look at a snapshot of the news from India on August 22nd, 2025. What does one day, just 24 hours of headlines, really tell us about where the world's biggest democracy is headed? Let's find out. All right, first up, let's look at India's place on the global stage. And, right out of the gate, you can see this incredibly high-stakes diplomatic dance it's performing. Okay, so this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like a tale of two policies happening at the exact same time. On one side, you've got tensions heating up with the US over India's oil trade with Russia. We're talking tariffs, canceled meetings, not great. But then, on the very same day, India's doubling down on its Asian ties, setting up summits with both Japan and China. It's a classic case of not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? They're trying to stay independent, not getting pulled too close to any single superpower. Now, you'd think, with pressure coming from a superpower like the US, you might see a pretty defensive, maybe even aggressive reaction. But what we're hearing from India is the complete opposite. It's all calm and open minds. And look, this isn't just fluffy diplomat speak. It's a very deliberate strategy. It sends a message that, yeah, they're willing to talk, they want to de-escalate, but all while they're quietly building up other partnerships on the side. So you see what's happening. While one door with the West seems to be, creaking shut just a little bit, another one in the East is swinging wide open. And behind that door is a huge number, $68 billion. This isn't just some friendly handshake. It's a massive strategic investment that really shows you where India is placing its long-term economic ships. And this isn't just a quick cash injection either. We're talking about a decade-long strategic plan with Japan. And look at where the money's going. Infrastructure, manufacturing, technology. That's no accident. These are the absolute cornerstones of economic independence. It's all about reducing reliance on Western tech or Chinese factories and really turning India into a powerhouse in its own right. Okay, so now let's switch gears and look at what's happening back home. Because what you'll see is that this global strategy, it's mirrored by an equally ambitious push for self-reliance and development within India itself. It's all part of the same playbook. This quote from the defense minister, it gets right to the heart of India's domestic strategy. It's not just about having fancy fighter jets, it's about having jets with home-built engines. That phrase is so important. Mastering jet engine technology is one of the toughest nuts to crack in aerospace. Pulling that off is a huge statement of technological independence. And this isn't just talk. This ambition has a name, the AMCA, or Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft Program. You can think of this as the ultimate test of that self-reliance goal. It's not about just buying parts and snapping them together. It's about owning the entire technological recipe, especially that all-important engine. In the world of defense, that kind of control is, it's everything. But here's the interesting thing. Self-reliance doesn't mean shutting the rest of the world out. At the very same time they're building their own jets, India is rolling out the welcome mat for global tech giants like OpenAI. This is a big deal. It positions India as a major player in the global AI race, even while the world is still trying to figure out all the legal rules around it. And this drive for development, it's not just happening with super high-tech stuff like fighter jets. It's also happening right at the grassroots level. We're talking about massive investments in public infrastructure. 18,000 crore rupees. That's over $2 billion being pumped into projects that will directly change millions of people's lives. And notice where this money is going. States like Bihar and West Bengal. This isn't just a random choice. It's a clear strategy to spread the wealth, to push economic growth beyond the usual big city tech hubs. The idea is to lift the entire country up, making sure everyone gets a piece of the pie, not just a few major cities. But of course, with all this ambition comes the reality check. India is also dealing with some really tough domestic challenges, and trying to solve them means making some very, very difficult choices. And this is a perfect example of one of those tough choices. You've got this huge debate over online gaming. On one side, there's a real concern for public welfare, which is leading to a proposed ban on all real money online games. But on the other side, you have an $8 billion industry that's about to be turned completely upside down. So how do you possibly balance a social goal with that kind of massive economic fallout? And it's not just in economics. This same kind of tricky balancing act is playing out in other areas too. Even in the legal system, tackling issues that affect daily life on the streets for millions of people. So, take the issue of stray dogs. It's a super emotional topic, right? What the Supreme Court is doing here is stepping in with a really logical, science-based approach. The idea is to find a middle ground. It avoids the extremes. You're not just ignoring the problem, but you're not resorting to culling either. Instead, it's about humane control first, sterilize and vaccinate, and then deal with the specific safety risk of aggressive dogs. And what's really important to see here is that this isn't just some local court ruling. The court is pushing for a single, nationwide policy to handle this. By calling for dedicated funding, helplines, feeding zones, they're trying to build a consistent national system to solve this problem once and for all for the entire country.
Okay, so when we step back for a second and we look at all these different stories from just a single day, a really clear picture of modern India starts to come into focus.
And this chart really visualizes that juggling act we've been talking about. Think about it. One day's news shows a country laser-focused on all these critical areas at the exact same time. You've got global diplomacy, high-tech defense, and these really tough social and economic choices happening all at once. It's a lot to handle. And really, that's the whole point. These aren't just random, disconnected headlines. The trade dispute with the US, the homegrown fighter jet, the gaming ban, the stray dog policy, they're all threads being woven into the same national story. It's the story of a country trying to navigate this incredibly complex path between its huge global ambitions and its very real, on-the-ground domestic realities. Which leaves us with one final big question. As India keeps up this incredible high-wire balancing act, which side is going to have more weight in the end? The global ambition or the domestic reality? Which one will ultimately define its next chapter? That, right there, is the story to watch.